Hello and welcome to possibly the happiest recording of the Voices of the Vic with me, Mike Duffy, and as always, my co-host Ben Aiton. Ben, how the bloody hell are you, mate?
Oh, I'm feeling fantastic, mate.
Can't think why.
I'm top of the world. No, all seriousness, I felt like I was having a heart attack halfway through that game. The last 10, 15 minutes, I was on the edge of my seat. I've never felt so anxious. And for relief when the final whistle went, oh my God, I wish I had some alcohol in the house just to celebrate. But yeah, drank all that watching the Chelsea game at the weekend.
Yeah, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, what Ben is on about, firstly, where the hell have you been? And secondly, Watford have recorded their first victory post-lockdown.
Woohoo!
Yes, it was, exactly. It was Watford 2, Norwich City 1. But my God, did Norwich make Watford work for it. That was a typical Watford performance. We made hard work of that. We were talking just before just before we started recording. And for those that don't know, Ben's partner is currently pregnant, and Ben actually said that almost caused an early labour, didn't it, Ben?
yeah. We're 9 weeks tomorrow until the baby's due, and my partner's she keeps an eye on Watford. She's not a massive football fan, but she was on the edge of her seat, and I could tell that she was getting a bit anxious watching it. I was like, "Oh, this baby's going to be here any minute."
Well, you would have had to have called it Danny Welbz, surely.
It's a girl, so I don't think I'll be calling it. Oh, maybe Danielle Welbeck.
Welbeck, yeah. But no, it was hard work, and I think we're probably best off starting where we always start, Ben. The lineups. I actually texted you before the game. We were always texting before matches, but
you absolutely called it, didn't you?
Yeah, more so today than any other, and obviously, as we spoke about in the last podcast, a lot was made. Does Troy start? Does Welbeck start? And a lot was made about whether Troy was actually going to be made. And I don't know why, just in my head, something was telling me that closer to kick-off and whatnot. Today, by the way, work dragged. Like, I finished at 4:30 this week, and I was like, usually it's 4:30 before you know it, and then you can start preparing for the game because it's at 6 o'clock. Today dragged. It was almost as if God was actually watching me thinking, no, Watford are going to win, but I'll make you wait. I'll slow the day down a bit. So, like, I actually thought to myself, right, I think Deeney's going to play. And I text Ben before the match, and I says, I reckon the team is going to be Foster in goal, Messina, Dawson, Cabaselli, Kiko, and then it'll be Hughes and Capu in the DM. Defensive mids, and then the three behind the striker will be Welbeck on the left, the Corey in the middle, and Sarr, and then it'll be Troy up front. And I just thought that Pearson's not going to completely change it round. If he was going to have done it by now, let's be honest. Well, if he was going to do it, he would have done it by now. Let's be honest. So I just thought Troy's going to start. He's not going to start Troy, who is Captain Fantastico at times, against Norwich, a big game like this, and that's exactly how he started the game and how he lined up. Now, be honest, Ben, when the team news come out, what were your honest thoughts surrounding not just the whole Troy Welbeck saga, regarding the whole thing?
I think I'll probably speak for a lot of Watford fans out there. I was disappointed not to see Danny Welbeck playing through the middle, and that Troy was given another start, seeing how unaffected he was last week against Chelsea. I've seen a lot of angry Watford fans, and when the team got announced on Watford Twitter, the amounts of comments that was being put on there saying, stop playing Deeney, is Troy undroppable, and Pearson's bottled it and all that. But it doesn't really matter now what the team was. We've got the result at the end of the day. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed to see that Welbeck weren't starting through the middle. Apart from that, the team was what we expected, really.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. As I don't know what it was, but something was just telling me the closer we got to kick off that, it was all pointing that Troy was going to start.
Nigel Pearson was never not going to play Troy
Exactly.
Deeney, was he?
Look, as much as the fans have been moaning, and maybe they've got a point, we touched upon that in the last podcast. I don't want to dwell over it because it is in the past now and we can sort of look forward. But Troy is Mr. Watford. Whether people like it or not, Troy is a captain. He's been the captain for the last, off the top of my head, 5+ years, 5, 6, maybe 7 years, possibly. Yeah. You don't go into arguably the biggest game in the 5 years back in the Premier League that we've had. You don't go into that game by firstly dropping your captain. It's just not the done thing. So I think it was obvious. And then we knew that Norwich had a few injury problems themselves. So we knew that Cantwell was out. We knew that McLean was an injury doubt, although he did come on. And then Tetty was an injury doubt. But Tetty started and he looked a bit rusty. But you actually pointed it out to me, Ben. You tagged me in the lineup for Norwich. I think Sky Sports put a tweet out. And they looked like they were confident. And that worried me a little bit.
Norwich fans were loving it. They were really excited with their midfield pairing that they put out. They looked quite dangerous today as well. Is it Buena?
Buendia.
The one that scored. He looks incredible. Everything flows through him, doesn't it? And I thought Hernandez did all right for them as well. They're not a bad side. No. It looks like they're going to probably go down this season, but I'm sure they'll probably bounce straight back up next season.
Well, it's actually a win for West Ham. That's who they've got on Saturday. And Norwich are down. They're 10 points behind us now. And obviously we still occupy 17th place. So a win for West Ham. If they lose at the weekends, Norwich are officially down. And you know what? They give a good account of themselves today. I think we'll just go straight into the game now, talking about the game. Obviously, they scored first. Buendia with the goal.
Firstly, as well, when the teams came out, Zed Cars was playing.
Yes, it was.
We've had the team huddle and Zed Cars now.
Something
Football's
just felt
back,
right.
And we won. Yeah. Football's back.
Something just felt right. Zed Cars was playing. I was like, oh, okay. It's the little things.
It was probably making the players feel more comfortable with the no fans being there. It was probably making it feel more homey for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, obviously, the match starts and whatnot. Unfortunately, haven't prepared as much as I would have liked for the podcast because we've literally, ladies and gents, jumped on as soon as the final whistle finished. I had to grab another beer, but other than that, we literally jumped on as soon as the match was finished. So, please excuse my lack of sort of stats on this episode, but Norwich pretty much hit the ground running. Buendia with the goal. That was his first goal for Norwich that season. You talk about how clinical he's been, but still not scored any goals. And another stat...
He's more assists for them, isn't he?
He is. Another stat, which is quite eye-opening, is only Kevin De Bruyne has made as many chances as Buendia has for Norwich this season.
Wow. I wouldn't mind him in a Watford shirt in the number 10 role.
It's funny you say that. If Norwich go down, they are obviously going to lose some of these players. And I think there was a couple of players on that Norwich side that I was sort of looking at and I'm thinking, okay, these could do half a job for us. Defensively, we've got problems. We touched on that last episode and it's been a problem we've had for a couple of years now. And, Max Aarons for one, Jamal Lewis, albeit he had a bit of a rough run-in against Sarr, but who wouldn't?
Ben Godfrey.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some young players that if they don't stay at Norwich, the problem we've got is Norwich are going to go back down. And like you've said, I fully expect them to bounce straight back up because they've got a young core in that squad and they really did play some good football. And they do generally, on the whole, play good football. So I expect them to come back up. So it's a big choice for their youngsters to sort of sit down and think, okay, do we ride it out for a season, win the championship or even come second and go back up again and then like that team cohesion, or do we just jump ship to another Premier League side and then you're playing Premier League football again next season? I'd take a punt on a few of them, but that Buendia was actually at fault for the first goal at Carrow Road when we played them. He's the one that was messing around with the ball too much.
Yeah, he got caught in possession, didn't he? Yeah,
massively. But other than that, they hit the ground running with Buendia and he sort of flat-footed Messina as well, and Messina was nowhere he was sort of like stuck in the mud a little bit. And they go 1-0 up. And as soon as it's 1-0, Ben, what are your thoughts straight away? What's going on in your head as soon as Buendia puts it past Foster?
Well, a few swear words came out my mouth, and I don't think I can repeat it now. I thought, oh crap, here we go again. I honestly didn't see us coming back. I thought heads would drop. Also, before the goal went in, Kiko was caught out a couple of times, and I thought Kiko weren't great today either.
No, he wasn't.
But yeah, it was a great finish from Buendia. But yeah, I just thought, how are we going to turn this round? 1-0 down after, what was it, about 5 minutes?
I would say, if I was going to hazard a guess at it, it was about 5 minutes in. And I've just watched the game, but I'm sorry, the nerves and everything has sort of clouded my vision of the game from what I can remember of it. But yeah, it was early doors. And on the plus side of that, it was early enough for us to make something of it and turn it around.
Yeah, such a quick reply to turn it around and get the goal. It's the equaliser, wasn't it, from us?
I was saying exactly this. I was watching this with my brother and sister, and I was saying the exact same thing. Unfortunately, the commentators produced the horrible stat that you don't like to hear, which is we hadn't, before today, we hadn't actually come back from a winning position. We hadn't come back to win from, I should say. And I think we'd only picked up 2 points from losing positions before. So the stats didn't look pretty. But as you've said, Ben, we sort of went straight back. Craig Dawson scored 10 minutes, I believe it was. And Buendia scored in the 4th minute. It's just come back to me now. How it's done that, I have no idea. But
you're probably Googling on your phone.
No, I'm actually not. But yeah, 4 minutes they scored in, and then 6 minutes later, Craig Dawson with the reply. Now, what the bloody hell has gotten into Craig Dawson? And just before you answer that question, I want to say he's been getting so much stick throughout this season. I have been one of the very few Watford fans, and I'm basing this on Twitter and social media, the Facebook groups for Watford fans as well. I've been one of the very few that's actually given him a chance. Yeah, he's had a couple of stinkers. The one that sticks out in my mind is Newcastle away, the 1-1 draw. But other than that, I've been a big fan of Dawson's, and he's always been that sort of player that has sort of got stuck in, and he's been known to score goals as well because he's been in a West Brom team that are hard to break and are very good at set pieces. So what the hell has gone on? If he scores 4 more, he's going to be our top goal scorer or level on. Like, he's just been a completely different player, hasn't he, Ben?
Yeah, no, I've been the same with you. I've not really liked the criticism that Dawson's got. Okay, it's taken him a while to get into the Watford team and get settled, and I think a lot of people was expecting us to sign a much better quality in defender than Dawson. But to be fair, he's been given it his all, and he's our biggest threat from set pieces. If you put it in the right areas, he's much more hungrier than the defenders to get on the end of it. And that showed today. He got away from Lewis and got on it weren't like a clean finish. It was a bit of a scrappy goal. But you take him at this point of the season. Also, he's probably our best attacker at the moment, and he's our centre back.
I think there was a stat knocking about, which is he had 6 attempts on goal, which has been the most from any Watford player since the restart.
Yeah,
a little bit embarrassing.
And also, he is our top goal scorer from lockdown as well.
He is indeed. But you know, in true Craig Dawson fashion, it wasn't pretty, but who cares, to be quite
exactly,
frank.
Yeah. He's in the right areas, and he scrambled it in for us, and that's all I care about. I thought he was actually brilliant today. He was throwing his body in on the line. He was getting important, crucial blocks in when Norwich were on top in the second half as well.
Yeah.
So, no, I thought he was outstanding. He's probably one of my man of the matches of the game.
I think so, yeah. Do you think that the quick reply had a lot to do with us maybe going on to win it? Because it did take something special, which we'll definitely touch on in a little bit for the winning goal. But that sort of mentality to keep pushing, because at times we were sort of sat back and it looked like we were inviting the pressure on. But there had to be that sort of initiative from us that was sort of thinking, right, we're going to push these and we're going to try to get at them. Now, do you think that the confidence would have been high because we replied so quick? Do you think that had a factor in it as well?
Yeah, I also feel like Pearson set us up to try and he's been in a situation before where he managed to do the escape with Leicester City,
Yep.
so he knows what a relegation fight's all about. He knows you've got to be patient in these games. You can't really go gun ho and like um, we've seen before, and it hasn't really worked out for us. Today, I think we had to go a bit gun ho after Norwich scored, but
Yep.
once we was back on level terms, it was like, okay, then we're in this. Let's get back to what we organised, and then we was just typical Watford. We was high pressing, we was causing them into mistakes. Sarr got past Lewis a few times and crosses into the box. We looked good.
Yeah. No, I certainly agree, and I think at one stage, like we were sort of, because we were playing that sort of patient waiting game, and I think Pearson sort of knew what he was doing. But at one stage, I sort of thought, right, if we go into half time at 1-1, then we've seen a pattern so far where we'll come out of the blocks, we'll hit the ground running in the second half. And I thought if we can sort of keep it at 1-1, because it was and I thought if we keep it at 1-1 and then come out of the second half and start how we've started all the second halves so far, then that's where we're going to hit Norwich, because they didn't look comfortable with it at the back. And why would they? I think they've got probably the worst defensive record so far in the league. I think it was joint going into the game with Aston Villa, but they didn't look comfortable with it at the back. I think Krul was a bit sort of shaky at times. I think it helped him massively, though, that Sarr was putting in a lot of crosses, which was sort of straight at him, which was a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
But I think going into the break at 1-1, it was crucial that we sort of didn't concede before going into the break, because we very easily could have done, because Norwich were very much knocking at the door. But I just thought if we come out second half, give it a real go like we usually start the second half, get a goal, and then the confidence is there, happy days. It didn't quite start the second half like that. I think it's fair to say that Norwich perhaps looked more likely to score in the start of the second half, and it was a case of, please don't mess this up, Watford, and please don't draw this, because we can't afford to draw. Do you get that feeling as well, sort of from the start of the second half then, or...?
Yeah, no, definitely. I just want to say quickly, I thought we edged the first half as well. We created quite a lot of chances, and we've not created many clear-cut chances in a lot of previous games. We got a lot of joy down Sarr's side today, which was probably the main reason why we was creating these chances. Welbeck had a header that just went over a crossbar. It looked like Welbeck and Decore got in each other's way, and there was another header just over a bar. So Welbeck created like two chances within a space of about 5 minutes, which was good to see. He was getting in the right areas and was causing Norwich problems. But yeah, half time, we always seem to come out second half a lot better, don't we? I think we've always had that kick up the backside that Pearson's given them. And yeah, it was. But I think we came out okay second half. Norwich had the first real chance of the second half. There was two quick chances in like the 53rd minute. There was I don't know who had the shot, but it was a shot blocked by Dawson, and then it would follow up save from Foster with his feet. So if that went in, it could have been totally different. And then I think 2 minutes later, we went up the other end, Sarr on the ball, looked across it, took a little nick off a defender, then went up in the air, and oh my God, what was that? Danny Welbeck, overhead kick.
I will hold my hands up here, and I'm sure I wasn't the only Watford fan. I was, throwing a few constructive criticism, I think is probably the best way to you sort of describe it. But I was throwing a few verbals in the direction of Sarr, because I thought, what on earth has he done here? He's completely done his, defender. He's got the pace, and then he's gone and messed it up like that. But when it took a nick and it was up in the air, and then I saw Welbeck had his back to goal, I thought, he's going to try it here. And when he hit it first time, I don't know about anyone else, but I sort of thought, that's gone wide or it's gone over. And I thought, oh. And then it dropped in because there was sort of like a delayed reaction. And I could not believe that Danny Welbeck had A, the confidence, and B, the audacity to pull it off. But you have to try those things. When you're in a relegation fight, you have to try whatever you can to get a goal. And Danny Welbeck did just that. Danny Welbeck has built up a reputation. Look, he's been capped by England many a times. He was at Manchester United as a kid, and he was at Arsenal. So you don't do all of those things if you're not a good footballer and you haven't got stuff like that in the locker. And like, it was just an incredible goal. Like, I don't know if there's any more you want to say on it, Ben, but like,
just a very special goal from a special player.
Absolutely.
I feel like if it wasn't for his injuries, we could be in a totally different position. I feel privileged to have someone like Danny Welbeck in our squad and starting for us. And he should be playing down the middle and get into these positions more often. But what an absolute special goal from Danny Welbeck. I was not expecting that. With his back turned to a rookery, and to even try that when confidence is low, that just shows that him as a person, on a personal point of view, his confidence ain't low. He's full of confidence. He's came back. He's fully fit. He's ready to go. And he showed exactly what he could do today.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And again, if you guys haven't seen it, firstly, where was you? And secondly, it's on our Twitter at Voices of the Vic. Go and check it out. You won't be disappointed. That's all I can say on that. Contender for goal of the season. You know, there's not been many to contend, but that's definitely up there, I think.
Also, just quickly, when we was watching the first half, I was watching it with my partner. I think we had a chance in, and I think Welbeck headed it over. And she says it quite often. She's always like, "Oh, why don't they just go for a bicycle kick?" Like, it never happened. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And the second half came, and Welbeck actually tried that. And I think she was on her phone, and I jumped up and I was like, "Get in there!" And she was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "He did a bicycle kick." And she was like, "Oh, I missed it." I was like, "Oh, Jesus!" The one time you wanted it, and it pulled off, and oh, what a goal! Well, I rewound it and showed her.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a goal that you'll rewind for years to come. You know, it really is. And who knows? Come the end of the season, that could be an absolutely massive goal for us. Just a little side stat. Danny Welbeck has now scored in he scored 4 times against Norwich, obviously different clubs, but Norwich is the team he's scored against the most, I should say.
Okay. I've got a little stat as well.
Yeah, I didn't know when you wanted to pull it out because Ben, obviously, as you know on this show, ladies and gents, we love a stat on this show. Ben, before recording, I've got a stat, but I'm not going to tell you. So I'm actually quite intrigued. So Ben, if you can fit it into what I've just said, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you very much. We've scored 3 goals since lockdown. 66% of them have been overhead kicks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What a stat.
Okay, I like that. Do you know what?
Am I on stat duty?
You're on stat duty for next week, Ben. Yeah.
Also, Danny Welbeck had 3 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal.
Yeah, can't complain at that. Good stats.
I saw it on Twitter. I did stole it from someone on Twitter, but
doesn't matter, Ben. You take the credit for that, mate.
Yeah,
they won't know. Well, they do because you've just said it, but you get the gist.
Yeah. They didn't say it on a podcast. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, more fool them. But yeah, it was a sublime goal and sort of quality that you need in a relegation fight. And when we went 2-1 up, I thought, right, that's it. We've got to go for the 3-1 now. It didn't quite work out like that. Norwich obviously continued to knock at the door. Luckily, nobody answered, but they certainly give us a good scare. Do you not think, Ben?
Yeah, no, definitely. I thought Norwich were growing into the game. We was sitting deep. We was getting deeper and deeper. We kept giving the ball away. I felt like we was just happy whenever a ball went out of play, or we got a little free kick where Foster or Messina were time wasted by taking about 30 seconds to get the ball back into play. I thought that's what we was playing for in the end. Then the fourth official board came up and said 4 minutes. I can't remember a more tense 4 minutes in my life.
Yeah, also, I want to say on that, I very much echoed the thoughts of what it looked like Daniel Farke was thinking. Where they got 4 minutes from, considering there was quite a few injuries. Norwich had made all their substitutions. Granted, Watford haven't, which I want to pick up on in a minute. But I thought there would at least be another 5, maybe even 6 minutes. I don't know where they got 4 from, but bloody hell, 4 was long enough. Let me tell you that now. It felt more like 4 hours than 4 minutes. But yeah, just whilst we're on the topic of conversation, I thought at one stage, because I think the first substitution from memory was it Cleverly or was it Chalobah first? It was Cleverly for Will Hughes, the first substitution, which I just want to say, obviously, Will Hughes, as always, brilliant performance, back to his more central role as he's better off. And Cleverly, come on, and I think he did just as good a job.
Yeah, you can see why Hughes came off. He was on a yellow card, so you didn't want to risk going down to 10 men.
Big games coming up as well.
Exactly that. And Cleverly, he just carried on from exactly what Hughes was doing. He was getting his body about. He was breaking play up. I thought Cleverly was brilliant when he came on. It didn't look like we weakened our midfield at all when Cleverly came on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So he come on first. The first substitution was him, and then the second substitution was Chalobah for, was it Decore? Chalobah for Capoue. Sorry, yeah, Capoue. That one I was a little bit more sort of perplexed with, but again, Capoue has played a lot of minutes, and obviously Chalobah is a very, very talented player, and I think he deserves to be getting more minutes. But it did sort of worry me a little bit because, as we all know, on his day, Capoue is that sort of player that will break any play up.
Capoue was back to his best today, wasn't he?
100%. I think he was. He absolutely he was. And that's why I was a little bit worried when he come out. That obviously we've got some massive games coming up. Like we got Newcastle on Saturday, who I'm going to speak about at the end of this podcast. But the team news is looking a little bit hopeful for us Watford fans. I'll say some more in a bit. But and then we've got West Ham on the following Friday, which is absolutely crucial. Like, that's massive. So he's going to want to keep things fresh. But I did worry a bit because Capoue, as we all know, he's sort of like a bit of a daddy long leg sort of thing. You know, they'll play a pass. Capoue could be like yards away and somehow he'll still get his legs to it or he'll still intercept it.
I swear someone's called him an octopus before.
I was going to call him an octopus, but I then thought, is that the right phrase? But yeah, no, we'll go with octopus. I think Gomez is known more as an octopus because he's got extraordinarily long arms. Yeah. So I didn't know whether that was the right phrase. But yeah, octopus is what I was thinking. So I'm glad somebody else has said that. But he literally gets the ball when you don't think it's going to happen. So for Chalobah to come on, who's a different sort of player and he doesn't get perhaps as stuck in as Capoue would, I did worry a bit because a lot of the play was coming from that middle and the Norwich players were really pushing and like I just thought, okay, this is a little bit of a weakened midfield that they're coming up against here now. No disrespect to Cleverly or Chalobah, but they're completely different moulds of players than Hughes and Capoue. But they held out. But the one thing I was thinking was, okay, so we've used two subs. We're coming up to the last 10, 15 minutes. I'm thinking, okay, I can see Pedro warming up. I can see Andre Gray warming up, unfortunately. I can see Cathcart warming up as well. But okay, he's going to bring some of these on. Nothing. And I thought, okay, I know what he's going to do. He's going to wait till the 90th minute. He's then going to make the subs to play the clock down, to run the clock down.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, do you think it was just a case of he didn't want to mix it up and potentially sort of lose the game, or just what was you thinking? Like he only used two subs.
I was expecting him to use his final substitutions in the 93rd minute. I just thought it would have slowed the game down more, and to time waste as well. I was to not use more of subs as well is a bit questionable, isn't it? Really,
it is. And do you know what I was thinking?
You can see why he's done it. He didn't want to unset anything out on the pitch. But when you're in the added on time and you still got subs available,
use them.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing that sort of perplexed me, and it'd be interesting to see if anyone else sort of was thinking the same. As soon as we got that second goal, obviously the wind was in our sails. I'm thinking, right, okay, so now's a good time. If you want to bring Troy off, if he's that sort of indispensable to you, push Welbeck more central and then put Pedro on the left wing. And Pedro will run and run and run. And, that is the perfect time to bring Pedro on when we're looking for an insurance goal. So I was a little bit disappointed.
Or if you wanted to be a bit more defensive, bring on Prosciutto and he'll give Messina more cover on the left-hand side than Pedro as well.
Yeah, no,
It's
absolutely.
a bit strange why we didn't use that third extra sub. But
Ben, who cares? We won.
I was going to say, I don't really care.
Yeah,
We've got
we
the
won.
3 points.
We won.
That's all that matters.
And I don't want, not that any other fans of the any other teams will be listening to this, but if anyone is listening to this on the off chance and you're thinking, chill out a bit, you beat Norwich. Yeah, we beat Norwich, but that is such a massive win. And there might be Watford fans that might be thinking, okay, guys, chill out a little bit. It's only Norwich, but it's only Norwich. A win is a win. And in this end of the season, it doesn't matter whether you beat Norwich or whether you beat Liverpool. We've done both, may I add. But, it's still a massive, massive win. And taking it into the next few games, we've got Newcastle at home on Saturday. And the news I wanted to say was, I saw on Twitter that Steve Bruce has said that Miguel Almiron and Saint Maximum have picked up knocks and they're going to be assessed. Now, I don't know whether that's for their game against Man City, which is this week. I don't know whether that's tomorrow on Wednesday or
tomorrow
on
night.
Thursday. Is it Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it's for that game or whether it's for Saturday as well. If it is for Saturday, that is a massive, massive boost. St Maximum has been sending defenders to Morrison's for their bread and their milk and their eggs for weeks upon end the last few weeks. Like, he's been incredible. Almiron seems to have found his feet as well. So two big players, and Andy Carroll as well. I know Andy Carroll hasn't scored since his returns to Newcastle, but Watford, the type of charity club that like to give players like that a goal. So never say never. But in all seriousness, they are three big players that we could be not facing, that might not be available for us, and that would be a massive boost. But the other part of me is sort of thinking, well, look at the sort of team news that we brought you for the Burnley game and look how that ended up. So you don't want to read too much into those things, but I just want to reiterate on the point that I started off was 3 points is 3 points. We're 4 points clear of Aston Villa now. We've got a better goal difference. We're level on points with West Ham. And it's just like things we should start to look up now, Ben, do you think, as opposed to looking over our shoulder, with bearing in mind Aston Villa and Bournemouth both playing on Thursday. Villa have got Man U, who are red hot in form at Villa Park, and Bournemouth have got Spurs. I don't know whether that's at the Vitality or...
It is, yeah.
It is, okay. But still, Man U and Spurs, respectively, we've got to be looking up now, surely, as opposed to behind our shoulder.
I would like to think so. I think this 3 points was absolutely vital today and massive. But if Bournemouth somehow managed to get 3 points, or Villa somehow managed to get 3 points, means the 3 points really weren't as massive as we first thought. So it all depends on how Bournemouth and Villa are going to get on. But the 3 points is massive, and it's going to help the confidence, and we could possibly pick up something at the weekend against Newcastle now.
Well, this is it. You say that the 3 points might not mean as much if Villa were to pick up a win or if Bournemouth were to pick up a win. But it also depends on how we follow this game up. Like, It's all well and good. Like, cast your minds back to February. We'd just beaten the champions to be 3-0 comfortably at home. And we all said, okay, once it had sort of calmed down, we sort of said, okay, we've got Crystal Palace away next. Let's follow it up with a good performance and win there. And then we went and lost 1-0. So if we then go on off the back of this and lose, it sort of loses the effect of how important it was. I think, as we've discussed on this podcast previously, personally, and I think Ben also thinks the same, because I had to clarify with him earlier, but personally, I think a draw from Newcastle and a draw from West Ham, 5 points out of those 3 games, I think will be enough. That is my personal opinion. That will put us on 36 points. They usually say the 40-point mark, but I think 5 points from those 3 games are going to be enough. And it is massive how we bounce back. The confidence in that dressing room now should be not sky high, but it should be a lot better. We want to take that going into the Newcastle game. Home advantage again. I know a lot of people are saying home advantage probably doesn't count as much. It may not, but it still has that element that you're playing at home. I would much rather be playing Newcastle at Vicarage Road than I would be at St James's Park.
Yeah. Also, just to pull you up on something quickly, we would be on 33 points, not 35 points.
Would we?
Yeah, because we're on 31 points at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I think you was adding on the 5 points on top of it.
I was indeed. Yeah, you stopped me getting ahead of myself. Thank you very much.
Trying to pull you back a bit.
Yeah, no, we would be on 33 points. Jesus, that was horrendous.
But this 3 points we got today, it means we're still fighting. We're still in the Premier League, wanting to stay in this division, aren't we? So, absolutely massive that we've got the 3 points today. Unless the 2 games coming up, they're both games where we can pick up more points. I'm not hopeful for obviously the City game. But the West Ham and Newcastle game, definitely we could get maybe a point each out of it, or we might even go on and get a win.
Yeah, if we can get a win out of either of those games, I am more than confident that, and I really hope this doesn't come back to bite me on the arse, but I am more than confident that will be enough. Like, from those 3 games, if you say 2 wins and a draw, so 7 points. You're laughing. Like,
I think if we are to beat a team, I think it would be more of a chance to beat Newcastle, as they've probably not got as much to play for.
Yeah, the West Ham one's going to be difficult.
A tough one. Yeah, that's going to be tricky. That both teams fighting for their lives. I think West Ham might possibly edge it against us at the moment.
I think you'd be
but
right.
Newcastle, I'd say that's more likely to get 3 points out of.
Yeah. No, I can see where you're going from with that. Newcastle have been playing some good stuff. Steve Bruce he's been doing a brilliant job. Fair play to him. But
yeah, he got a lot of stick at the start of the season.
He certainly did.
He's worked wonders. I think he's actually been better for Newcastle than Rafa Benitez was.
Ooh.
I know.
Big statement there, Ben. We'll leave that to the Newcastle podcast to rant and rave over that one. But yeah, no, it's a much more positive feel to the podcast, and we hope that you sort of got that vibe as it come across me and Ben. So, yeah, hopefully the next one, which will be the one that will preview the Newcastle game, which we will tweet about later this week as to when you'll be able to hear that. We will hopefully be picking up, whether it's another 3 points, that'd be brilliant, or whether it's another point, we'll take that. But one thing is for sure, it's looking a lot better since picking up those 3 points against Norwich this evening. And it's an absolutely massive win. And I think I speak on behalf of Ben as well when I say that it's given us a little bit more breathing room, I think is probably the best thing to say. Looking at the running on paper, we've probably got the better out of us and Aston Villa, because I think it is pretty much between us and Aston Villa now, because Bournemouth's running is looking pretty horrendous on paper. But football, anything can happen in football, so the lads still need to give it their all. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination, and anything can happen, but we're in a much better position. It was great to actually record a podcast with you, Ben, where we've actually come off the back of a win. Like, how much better is it to actually speak? Because usually it's, I've texted after the game, I'm going, right, okay, let's set a recording up, let's get this out of the way. But tonight it was right, let's get a recording going. We just won, bloody hell.
I was looking forward to talk to you for once.
Cheers, Ben. Thanks for that, mate. Well, we might cancel the podcast there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for that. In all seriousness, thank you very much for everyone that's listened so far. I know I say this all the time, but we really cannot thank you enough. Any tweets that you see that we put out, if you agree with us, let us know. If you think that perhaps we are wrong, let us know. We want your interaction as much as possible, and you guys have been interacting so much recently, and we can't thank you enough for it. We're on Instagram as well. Go check out the Instagram at Voices of the Vic, and on Facebook, the page is, if you just type in the search bar, the Voices of the Vic. We are also on there as well, and you'll find our personal Twitter handles in the bios for the on our Twitter page as well. So go and follow us as well if you want. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Voices of the Vic, and hopefully next time we speak to you, we'll be previewing the Newcastle at home game, and we can start to maybe look at another point, maybe another 3. Who knows? But all we do know is we've got 3 points tonight, and that was the main thing. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you next time. Thank you and good night.